If you're like me, you're probably on the younger side of the age bracket, maybe in your 20s, 30s, maybe even just your teens. And there's a lot of advantages that can come with this, but there's also some disadvantages as well with being young. Now, like everything in life, this is sort of a double-edged sword. I say this a lot, and it's a pattern that shows up a lot in life if you look for it. So there's the obvious benefits of being young, like compound investing, having time as your greatest asset, and having your entire life ahead of you, which old people don't have those luxuries. However, there's definitely plenty more advantages to being young, which you need to be taking advantage of, and if you aren't, I highly recommend you get on this. Even if you're not young, you can still try to implement these. I don't really know how many older viewers I have, but hey, you're never too young to start. So first up, what I have written down is use people doubting you as motivation. And this, I wrote this down first because it's come up a lot for me in my life recently. So I work as a construction management intern for my major, and basically I'm on the job site all day kind of managing what's going on. Not me, kind of shadowing, but I get some responsibility here and there. So I'll give you a little backstory. So about a year ago, I was on a job site. I had been there for about a month and a half, which isn't crazy or anything, but it's definitely enough to kind of know what's going on. I'd been on the same project for a month and a half, and there was one day where the guy that was kind of mentoring me, he wasn't there. He had to go run to the office, and I stayed behind I was just cleaning up. I was sweeping up some stuff, doing housekeeping stuff for the construction site. So I was the only one there, and then I heard something out in the parking lot, and a car pulled up, and this guy got out, and I thought he was the inspector at first, so I walked up to him, greeted him, introduced myself, and I was very polite. And I basically asked him, was he the inspector? And then he said, oh no, I'm the owner. Kind of got a weird vibe from that. It was a little cocky, not really very friendly back to me like I was to him. So come to find out, he actually called the guy that was mentoring me, that was like the head of the project that I was helping with, and asked him like, why the fuck is there a kid on the job site? Who is he? You know, things like that. And I took pretty high offense to this, and it was kind of like, not embarrassing, it was annoying, I guess you could say, and it made me kind of mad, you know, because I had been putting so much work into this for the past month and a half. I went there every day. I actually cared about it too. I like thought about it even when I wasn't at work, and for him to say that, it was just didn't feel too good. But anyways, not to make him sound like a bad guy or anything, the next day I saw him at my office. He was there talking to the owner of my company, and he introduced himself. He like apologized for not knowing who I was, and it went on fine. But the point is, I use that as motivation all the time. I think about that moment a lot, and it comes up a lot in life as well when people doubt younger people. Just because you're old, just because you have time, just because you have experience, doesn't mean, that doesn't mean you're always going to be better than someone else. But at the end of the day, that's just fuel to the fire. No harm was done, but it definitely motivated me a lot since then. And I can't help but think that maybe one day when I have my own private investment firm, maybe I'll outbid him on a building or a new investment opportunity, something like that, and be like, hey, remember me, remember that intern? So I'm sure at some point all of you have dealt with a similar experience like this at some point in your life. I feel like a big one would be if you're working with people and clients like that know your age and maybe are seeing you face to face. Like if you have an online business or something where you're providing a service for someone, you might be able to get away with it if they don't know your age, which you probably wouldn't want them to if you're pretty young. But if you're face to face, they're going to know your age and they're going to know you look young. And they're going to think that you're inexperienced. So this is very hard to get around, but you just have to be able to be persuasive and tell them they can trust you. Not even tell them, but also show them as well, and just prove yourself to them. But just being able to prove yourself that you're worth a lot more than they may think. Like if you're a young business owner, maybe a real estate agent, or like a salesperson where you're kind of working face to face with people, you're going to run into this a little bit. This actually popped up in another scenario with me. We were working on a project for this owner. I'll just say his name's Bob. We had been working on the project. I had been kind of shadowing, but I was helping out. I was doing as much as I could, trying to be very helpful and useful for the project. And then the owner decided that he wanted to build another building close by, and basically my company, the general contractor, which is like the builder, they wanted to put me, the intern, but I'm working full time, so I'm able to like be there when they need me. They wanted to put me in charge of the field stuff and be like on the field every day, like kind of managing people. And at first I was a little intimidated and scared, but you know, I'm not going to step down from a challenge. I'm not going to back away. And I knew it was a good opportunity to grow. So I was like, yeah, of course. I'd love to help out. And it looks great on a resume and just having that experience and track record as well. So basically, like my manager, my boss wanted me to be kind of in charge of the field stuff on this project and have a pretty big role in it. So when they told the owner, Bob, of the other company that I was going to be the one playing a big role in it, he wasn't having it and basically went behind my back and told my boss that he didn't want me there. Not that he didn't want me there, but that he didn't want me having any responsibility over it, because it's like a $200,000 project. So I understand where he's coming from, but you got to give people a chance. And the thing that hurt the most was the fact that I hadn't done anything, I don't think, to make him think that I wasn't capable of handling it. I could understand if I fucked up in the past or was kind of slow or something or stupid, but I mean, I'm not. And all I had done on the other project that we had been building for him was doing as much as I could, being very attentive to detail, and just hurt the fact that he didn't trust me with that. But you know, I'm not gonna be hung up on that. I'm gonna use that as motivation and internalize that and use that as fuel to the fire again for future projects. And all I'm gonna think is that if they put me on another project, he's gonna wish that he had me on his project. So another advantage to being young is that older people are typically more inclined to want to help you and teach you different things because they have a lot more knowledge, they have a lot more experience than you, and they have a lot that they can teach you. And I think there's something to learn from everyone, no matter who you are. Even if it's like a criminal or something in prison, even if you're not learning from like them necessarily, you're learning like what not to do. And basically anyone, no matter how high on the ladder you are, no matter how successful you are, which is relative terms, there's always something to learn from anyone because everyone has a different life experience and they've been through a lot of different shit than other people have. The thing I've noticed is that older people will typically want to help younger people and teach younger people more than older people, because it's kind of weird to be teaching or helping out someone that's your own age that's also older, unless you make yourself teachable. But most of the time, people aren't going to want to help others that are their own age because it kind of seems like you're talking down in a way, I guess, to them, unless you make it clear that you want to learn. But if you're young and you make it known that you're open and receptive to whatever they're telling you, they can tell you a lot of shit. And if you figure out how to get them to open up, no matter who it is, if you figure out how to get them to open up and what gets them going, what they really love to do, they're going to dump a lot of information that you just need to, if you're not writing it down or like recording it or anything, you just need to take it all in like a sponge. And once you build that trust with people, then they'll really start to open up about maybe more exact details about certain things, stuff that's closer to them, more personal, and even some like secrets and stuff on how to get ahead that they might not want to tell someone their own age that they see as a competitor. That's the other thing. They're not going to see you as a competitor. If you're young like me, if you're even like mid-20s, late 20s, most people underestimate people that age. So they won't expect you to be a competitor. So they'll tell you a lot of valuable stuff. Now, don't take this too far. Don't go and backstab someone after they help you or like teach you a lot of stuff. Obviously, that'd be like unethical. That's bad to do. But it's very easy when you're young to get older people to open up. I'll just say that. Now, another thing, and this is kind of funny, hopefully you don't have to rely on this too much, but if you fuck something up when you're young, you won't get much heat for it, especially if you're like still in school, still in college, or even if you don't go to college and you're just like an apprentice or something like learning. People aren't really going to get too mad at you, unless obviously you like prove that you're capable of a lot more and then you fuck up something easy. They might bust your balls a little bit, but you aren't going to get like in serious trouble unless you do something really bad. But at the end of the day, if you show them that you're actually trying, if you show that you actually care, that's like the big one. Just showing that you actually care about different things, whatever it is. They're not going to really blame you for certain things, and they know you're doing your best, and at the end of the day, we're all human, and that's all you can really do. Another thing I've written down is that age requirements are bullshit because they're just for average people, and if you're not average, then they don't really apply to you that well. For an example, and this happened to me recently, I was trying to get an Airbnb, a pretty big Airbnb. It was the hardest thing in the world because I don't know about you guys if you go on there very much, but like every single listing is like 25 and older at this point. Some are 23, and then if you're lucky, they're 21, but I'm 20, so very difficult finding one of those because they just assume that all young people are going to be reckless, destroy stuff, and maybe there's some truth to that. It's not all people. Personally, and I'm sure a lot of you guys are like this, you got to pay a lot of attention to detail, and I would take a lot better care of people's Airbnbs than most like 50-year-old people. So that's always annoying. It's just kind of a side note. That's always annoying having to work around like age requirements that are actually in the law and things like that, or rules. And then I also have written down credit score. A factor of your credit score is how long you've had your credit cards for, or like car loans or whatever else plays into that. But like there's literally nothing you can do except just wait until you get to like the 2-year mark, I think it is. Actually, no, it goes up in increments. It's like, I think you have to wait like 7 years before you can even possibly get like an 800 credit score or anything like that. So really all you got to do is be patient because you can't speed up time. And if it's something like that, that there can't be exceptions for, then you just got to wait it out. However, in most cases, other than credit scores, there's always a workaround. You can always figure out a way to get things done, even if you are young, even if you're a teenager. Even if you're in like middle school. I doubt I have any middle schoolers watching, but hey, if you are in middle school and you're ambitious, then go get after it. Don't wait, and don't let people just drive you down because you're young. There's always a way around it, and you'll figure it out. Back to the Airbnb thing, I think I messaged like a dozen different ones that had an age requirement above what I was. I tried to get it one that was like 23, and I'd be like, hey, I'd send out like a long paragraph to show that I actually cared. I'd be like, hey, I'm only 20. Is it okay if, you make an exception this once? I'll take very good care of it, and I'll treat it like it was my own, if not better. And some of them declined, and then some of them seemed kind of open to it, but they were actually owned by another company, and the company didn't let them. So, but in most cases, there is a workaround. That's what I want to make clear. Just got to get creative with it. So I want to leave off with, you don't have time to wait around till you get old. You can't keep saying, oh, I'll wait till I'm 25 to start my company. I'll wait till I'm 30 to start my company, because that's the average age for most people. If you have a plan, start now. There's literally nothing holding you back except yourself. And if you're saying it's because of your age, then you're not being creative enough for a solution. Push yourself through those obstacles of being young, because when you're older, you'll thank yourself because of all those benefits of compounding that you started when you were young. Trust me, it'll be worth it, and you'll probably be sharper than most older people because you had to push through those extra obstacles of being young, and that'll just make you more resourceful because you had to figure out a way to get things done. All right, all my fellow young people out there, good luck, go get after it, and don't let your age hold you up.